Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is part 2 of our video series 10 Steps to Buying a Home. My name is Mac Rogers. I'm the broker owner of Albert Rogers Realty here in Castro Valley, California. If you're new to the channel, I do real estate market updates as well as tips for both home buyers and home sellers twice a week. If you like the information, do me a favor, please click on the like button. It helps the channel get the information out to more people. Also, if you want to follow me, click on the subscribe button as well as the notification bell. I will put a link to the first part of this video series if you have not seen that part yet. So we've found a home that meets most of your criteria. Now it's time to write an offer. Here's what we need to do in order for us to begin the negotiation process. Important note, I am here to guide you through the home buying process. The purpose of my advice, the advice that I give you, is to get you closer to your goal and is based on my experience, what I know what's going on in the market, as well as my conversation with the listing agent. You do not have to follow anything that I advise you on. You can also question anything and everything that I tell you. Please understand that as your agent, I am representing you and I'm looking out for your best interests. It is critical to understand that at this stage of the process, my job is to get you the property acceptable to your terms and price. At the beginning of this process, I will give you a copy of a purchase contract and can walk you through the entire document. This enables you to get comfortable with the standard terms of the contract. I encourage you to ask questions if there are items on the contract that you need clarification on. This way, when we do find a property, filling out the contract won't be stressful and that you will be comfortable knowing that what you are signing. Now, what about offer price? This is always a question that I keep hearing. Can we offer below the list price? Can we offer at list price? How much over do we need to be at? Look, if it's a multiple offer situation, please don't even think of offering at list price or asking, let alone below the list price. Here's my experience and kind of a rule of thumb that I use. If there's around 3 offers that you will be competing against, 3% to 5% over asking would probably give you a good chance of getting the property. Now, if there's 5 to 10 offers, you're looking at 7 to 10% over asking price. Once we're competing with over 10 offers, all bets are off. The sky's the limit at this point. But with all these, the 2 things that I will recommend is number 1, make an offer that you're comfortable with, and number 2, establish a walkaway price. What I mean by this is, say we offered $735,000 on the property and we found out that we didn't get it. I don't want you saying we could have gone $5,000 or even $10,000 more. We might have gotten the property. When competing for your dreams, we put all of it on the line, your highest and best offer. Now, besides price, there are other considerations to take into account. It's probably a greater discussion that I can't possibly cover in this video, but let me give you some of the other things that could affect your offer. Things like terms, like closing times, contingencies. This could be appraisal, loan inspection timeframes. Do you have a home that you need to sell before closing on this new property? Now, what about possession? Will the seller need rent back? How long? Will you offer them free rent back? Writing a letter also, writing a letter to the seller does help and sometimes could mean getting selected versus a faceless offer. These are things that we definitely will talk about prior to making an offer so you have a better understanding and feel comfortable once we do actually make an offer. Once we cross our T's and dot our I's, then we wait some more. Hey, congratulations, we made a very competitive offer and the seller has accepted it. Now there's more waiting, but a lot of behind the scenes work. First, we need to make the security deposit. The amount is what we put in our initial offer. It's usually around 1 to 3% of the purchase price. This amount gets deposited into escrow, and the common question that I hear is, can I get this back if the deal falls through? Will that go towards my down payment and closing costs? The answer to both is yes. Remember, the only time that you would end up losing a deposit or possibly getting sued is when there's a breach of contract. If for some reason you do not get a loan or the property does not appraise and we can't come to new terms, that deposit gets returned to you. Now, as for the second question, yes, it does go to, or it does apply towards your down payment and closing costs. At this point, you should also be searching for home insurance. Once you have found a provider, we need to give this information to the lender and the escrow company so they can arrange for payments. You do not have to pay it outside of escrow. The other things that happen behind the scenes, like getting the contract to the lender and starting the loan process, we will send the executed contract to the lender once the earnest money has been received by the title company. Now is the time to make sure you quickly respond to your lender's request for information and make sure that they have everything that they need. We will be on a tight schedule and you will need to be diligent with specific requests for information. Remember, time is of the essence, and not taking action on a timely manner can be considered breach of contract. I know you will be excited to furnish your new home, and you might get tempted by all the emails and mailers that you get offering you this and that, but I want to remind you to please do not make any large purchases, like especially a car, or you might end up living in it, or opening up new credit cards or credit lines, even if it says no payments or 0% for the next 12 months. Also, don't make any large deposits or withdrawals, and large could mean as little as $500 or less. Make sure to talk to me or to your lender before making any deposits or withdrawals. It's also a good start to look into utilities and start the process of transferring it under your name at a scheduled date. Now we move on to step 8, inspections. We will make recommendations for inspection companies, and you need to choose one ASAP. We must have all inspections completed within a inspection time frame so that we can submit any repair request to the seller in a timely manner. This is another negotiation process, and we must be sure we respond quickly and adhere to the dates outlined on the contract. Most inspectors require payment at the time of service, so if you choose to pay through escrow, there is an additional fee. If for some reason you decide not to continue with the purchase of the home based on the repairs that you don't want to incur, you are still responsible for the payment of the inspection fees. The home inspection is probably the most important step following the contract execution. We highly recommend you be present during the inspection. You will receive an inspection report if you are unable to attend the inspection. However, the inspector will go over any issues in detail at the inspection and point out each item as they are discussed. This also gives you the opportunity to ask them questions regarding necessary repairs. Inspection reports can be very long and detailed, so it's always a best practice to be present if at all possible. There are different types of inspections that are not included in a general inspection. A general inspection is typically electrical, mechanical, plumbing, and a visual inspection of the roof and the exterior. Additional inspections come with additional costs and vary from company to company. Examples of additional inspections include termite inspection, structural inspection, a pool, a hot tub, sewer lateral systems, a chimney. Now, if there's a particular inspection that you want to do, you just need to let us know so that we can order that for you. Here are some tips for attending a home inspection. Home inspections range from 2 to 3 hours depending on the size and scope of the inspection. Wear comfortable clothing and shoes in the event that you need to, crawl under spaces or go into the attic. Ask questions. You are paying for their expertise, and they are working for you. If you don't understand the process, make sure you ask questions until you do. It's important to understand each problem and whether it's minor or major and the expense involved. The inspector isn't psychic. They can only inspect and detect obvious things they can see. Having a clean inspection report won't keep you from having issues down the road. It just means that what can be seen is in good shape at the time of the inspection. It's a good idea to bring a tape measure to get measurements of rooms if you need or want them. We will most likely not be back until the final walkthrough. Make sure you bring the form of payment if you do intend to pay the inspector, or make arrangements ahead of time if you plan to pay it at escrow. We will discuss repairs at a separate meeting, and best not to go over these items in the home. Nowadays, because many homeowners have interior surveillance recording devices, it's best not to discuss negotiation items in the home. Remember, the purpose of the report is not to nitpick the home, but to determine if the major items that are associated with the normal working order of the home are still in good working order. If you don't care for paint or there are cosmetic issues, those are items that you need to address after closing. If those things are important to you, there is always the option to buy a new construction home and choose a custom design. It's a good idea to take photos of the rooms to refer to them at a later time. One thing I want to point out, if during the offer phase the sellers provided inspection reports and you have reviewed and accepted it, this means that we skip all this. You have basically told the sellers that you have reviewed the reports and found them to be satisfactory and that you accept the property as is. Now let's move on to step 9. Okay, number 9 is not really a step, but rather a warning. You know, it is so important, that's why I cover it here and give it its own little time. Unfortunately, there are too many people in this world who don't want to work for what they want to get. They just want to take what you and I have. A sad example of this is wire fraud. Con artists are hitting the real estate market in full force and stealing and hacking email addresses and title company information to con buyers into sending their hard-earned and saved money, which is intended for their home down payment, and redirecting it into their own bank accounts. Please heed this warning. Realtors will never ever send you wire information via email or request for funds. The title company is the only one that sends you this, and it's usually through secure email. As a rule of thumb, there should only be 2 times that you send money to the title company. The first is when you are doing your earnest money deposit or the security deposit. This is that 1 to 3% of the purchase price that we talked about earlier. This can be done in the form of a personal check. The second is when you are about to close. Usually, you sign your loan docs and the signer will give you the amount, and that shows the money that is due along with the wire transfer instructions. Outside of these 2 events, never ever send money, even if the email looks to be from the title company. So before you wire any funds or give your bank information to wire funds, take 5 minutes and call your title company to verify the information if it's correct, or call me. If not, you could lose your hard-earned money and not get it back. This is a real threat and should be taken seriously. And we are here to answer your questions, and we work for you. So always ask before you make any decisions if you are unsure of your next step. Step number 10, the contract has been executed, all the disclosures have been signed, the inspections came out good, appraisal came in value, and your loan is approved. Now is the time to make sure that you put the date on your calendar, and be sure to ask time off from work, as closing will be scheduled during working hours. Now, most title companies have several times of the day available, but it's best to get on everyone's calendar ASAP. A few things to keep in mind regarding closing on your new home. The closing date is tentatively set for a specific date, but could be delayed for various reasons. Just know that we will be diligent with keeping in contact with the title company and the lender to make sure we stay on top of the closing timeline. If you prefer morning over afternoon, be sure to let us know so we can schedule accordingly. Once you sign your loan documents, it could take 2 to 3 days to officially close, depending on when you sign and what the contract states. Say for example, you signed your loan documents on a Monday morning and the seller has already signed their documents as well. The title company will send these documents to your lender for review. If everything is in order, your lender can fund the next day, Tuesday or Wednesday. Once the loan has been funded, the title company releases it to the county for recording. It is important to note that the property is not yours or does not change title until it's recorded at the county. Once it is on record, yoo-hoo! Congratulations! You are a new homeowner. Hey, I hope you got information from our 10-step home buying process. You know, I would love to help you out on your next home search. We have a free resource guide that goes into more detail and gives you an overview of the whole buying process. If you want a copy, please click on the link on the description below. Have a great day and I'll see you soon.